Hello everyone, this is Charles Folkart. It's December the 9th, 2016. Welcome everyone. This is one video I don't want to do. I've thought about it for the last few days. It's been a tough time for me. I'll be honest with you, it's been a tough time since Thanksgiving until now. And I really haven't felt up to it, and it takes a lot of work to produce these videos. My computer system is very inadequate, and but I don't want to, we don't need to go into that. But this video needs to be done for two reasons. One, for my own health, just like when I wrote my book back in 2006, or had it published in 2006. I had to get it out of my system, because I believe if I get it out of my system, it's not inside and it's not going to cause me to get ill. That's one reason I'm doing this. And another reason I'm doing this video is because there's a lot of parents that are going through the same things that I'm going through. A lot of parents, and I'm a grandparent now. And I just recently found out that I got grandchildren I didn't even know I have. So I'm what they call it the victim, and I don't like to use that term because I don't like to see myself as a victim, but how else are you going to describe it? I'm the target parent of both parental and grandparent alienation. And so I've been having a tough time. It's not easy. This is one of the hardest things that I've ever experienced in my life, and I've been through some pretty tough times. And this is very painful. And I realize that there's other people that are going through the very same thing. And we live in a world that has a system that is set up that causes and encourages marriages to split up, get divorced, and 70% of the divorces are instigated by the female. So this video and my talk, or my explanation here, is really geared toward the men. But there are women I know that are also the victims of what's going on. But you can go watch another video if you don't like to hear it from a man, because I think men are, for the most part, the ones that we never get 50-50 custody of our children. If the wife decides she wants to divorce, she gets the children, and the men pay child support, and they get to see their if they're lucky, and I wasn't that lucky to get to see my two children maybe one night a week and every other weekend. And that's not being a parent. That's not being a parent. It's a visitor. And a little background on me. I was approved by the state of California to be a foster parent. We had, I don't know, 10, 15 foster children in our home over a period of a few years. And I had a background check for the foster parent approval process in the state of California. I also was approved by the state of California to adopt children. I went through another FBI background check for that process, and we ended up adopting two of our foster children that were in our care. They came into our care when they were 1 month old, and I'll go into that in the future. So I have two biological children, and I have two children that we adopted. But I love all my children the same. So when I don't communicate with any of my children, it hurts just as equally if I don't hear from my biological children or if I don't hear from and communicate and have a relationship with the children that are not mine biologically. And as I mentioned, I was going through a tough time, so I got on the internet and I was looking at other YouTube videos about other people that are in a similar situation. And I ran across this fella named Mike, who's a retired New York police officer, and I wanted to show you a short clip from his video.
I had to threaten her with arrest to get the phones back, and she surrendered right away when I, told her I was going to have her arrested for petty larceny. I'm going to call Suffolk County Police right now. Not that they would have arrested her, because the cops out here are pretty, at the time, I still feel that they're a bit on the corrupt side, and but anyway, that's a different story. But this is what an alienating parent does. And those two first points are things that lawyers and the honorable lawyer, they love to hear, and they take advantage of those high conflict situations, and then they expand on it, and they let it flourish, they let it flower. And the one who has the easiest job is the one representing my ex-wife. They don't have to do anything. They just let her be the way she is, and she doesn't cooperate with anything. She doesn't want to compromise on nothing. And this creates hours in court. $350 an hour, $400 an hour. This is what goes on. My point is, if you're an alienating parent, if you're an alienating parent, I want to hear from you. I want you to justify what you do. Justify it to me. Let's have a conversation. But if you're being alienated, I want you to do a video like this. I want you to take these points. I want to share your experience on video. And we need to send this even to our representatives in the legislatures and in the county, state level, and even in the presidential election. Very important year this year. And nobody's talking about family law or court reform, and it's a huge, huge problem. Next to terrorism, I think that's one of the biggest problems in this country, and it's destroying the American family. The basic foundation of which we are founded is being destroyed systematically, on purpose, and it needs to stop.
Well, there was a lot there, and did you feel the pain? I could feel the pain that man is going through, and I felt bad for him. And I don't want this to be a Glenn Beck moment here, but it gets pretty emotional, people, and the fact that the family, especially the white male head of households, families are being destroyed, and that's the point of my book, which has been censored by Lulu and Amazon. You cannot buy this book, so I'm not promoting this book, but that's the same point that I brought out in my book, and I disagree with Mike that with the biggest problem in America isn't the false terrorism. It's the destruction of the American family. The family is the foundation of our culture, of our society, and it's being destroyed, and nobody is talking about it. And I agree with Mike that he encouraged people like myself to have a conversation about this, and we absolutely have to have a conversation about this, and I intend to do just that. And you may be asking, well, isn't this going to threaten the possibility or the potential of you getting back with your children? And I it's been since 1995, and my children don't talk to me all through that period. I had two short talks on the phone with my son and my oldest girl and my younger son, and a few exchanges on Facebook with my younger daughter, who told me that I abandoned her. And if you read my book, and I encourage you to read my book, and she says, I'm never going to read your book. If you read my book, you'll know that that is absolutely false. I did everything I possibly could to stay in contact and to maintain a relationship with all of my children, and especially my two younger children, because my two biological children were older at that time, and I thought, well, I could always, reconnect with them later. So her new stepfather and her mother, who I'm going to come right out and tell you right up front, she's a narcissistic, psychological, not psycho. She's a psychopath. She's mentally ill. No normal, reasonable mother will talk bad about their father to such an extent like she has done, and the stepdad has done, and they even went so far as to change my daughter's last name to his name, and the excuse was that she wanted to separate herself from her brother, who had gotten himself into trouble with the law, and I'll go into that later. That was just the excuse to take away the relationship in another form between my youngest adopted daughter and me. And this is what is alienating, and I hope to go into this in detail in future videos, because I agree with Mike 100%. This needs to be discussed, and people that are alienating, the parents that are alienating their children against the other parent, whether it be the mother or the father, this is child abuse. This is absolutely psychologically harmful to these children, and my adult children are still suffering from this 15 and 20 years later, but they don't even see it. And it's carrying through. They're doing the same thing to me that and their children that their mother did to them. They're preventing, or they're interfering and harming the relationship that I should be having with my children and my grandchildren, and they with me. And you'll notice, you watch some of these videos, they don't get a lot of views. I know this isn't mainstream, but it's happening. It's happening, and like Mike says, this has got to stop. So I'm hoping that, just like when I wrote my book, I wrote this book for main purpose was for my children to read the details and to understand what took place when their mother and I divorced. It could have been an amiable separation. We could have maintained. I asked for 50-50 custody. That didn't happen. That hardly ever happens. The mother gets the child, and then she gets child support, and then she can go get married, remarried, and she gets your money to support children that you don't get to see. And the system encourages it, and they do everything they can to support the mother, even though she's a psychopath. There's something mentally wrong with you if you're an alienating parent. And there's no getting around that. It's child abuse, and it's encouraged and ignored by the court. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I was also a court-appointed special advocate, CASA. And I did that for several months until I realized it was just a scam. This is how the courts legitimize the separating of the father from their children. Every other guardian ad litem, GAL they call them, CASA, whatever name they use, they were all females. And I could see that they were they were taking children away from fathers and giving them to the mother almost exclusively. And when I realized that what was going on, I quit, and it was shortly thereafter that my wife and I divorced. And but it's a scam, folks. As Mike says in his other videos, they take your money, $300-400 an hour. They make you go to this meeting, this counseling, and this and that, and everybody's making money, and it's all coming out of the father's pocket because the father has to pay for all of this. And it was my ex's attorney, the first attorney, advised her to accept my offer, and when she refused, he told her she had to go get another attorney. And she did. She found another scumbag POS attorney that told her everything she wanted to hear, and he expected to get paid from me, and while he continued the ruination of our family and the relationship I have with my children. And as I explain in my book, as soon as he realized that he wasn't going to get paid, because I filed for bankruptcy to protect what I had left, and that's a whole nother story there, and I hope to do a video there about that too. These people are criminals. It's a fraud. It's a racketeering operation that the men in the black robe, the honorable attorney, it's a big club, and they're just sucking money out of everybody while they destroy the family. And this has got to stop. These criminals need to be brought to justice, and the state legislators aren't going to do, can I be frank? The state legislators aren't going to do. They're all ex-attorneys too, and they're all getting their campaign funds from attorneys, because attorneys are making big bucks and they want to see this continue. And I've got other videos in there where I've gone through the legal system here in Montana, and they're as corrupt from the district court all the way to the Montana Supreme Court, and that's documented. And that's a whole nother story, but it's the same system, folks. Anyway, I'm sorry. You know, it's so easy to go on a rant, because this is the most important thing to me is my children. And these people and this system has ruined the perfectly good relationship that I had with all of my children, and nothing happens. And my children don't even see what happened. And I'm paying for it, they're paying for it, and their children are paying for it. And this has got to stop. This has got to stop. And I'm hoping that I can do my small part to educate people, educate parents, educate the children that are alienated from their father or their mother, so they can realize what happened. Your sick, alienating parent abused you, emotionally and mentally abused you, to turn you away from what is usually a loving parent. And most of them, they don't even see it. Whew. Feels good to get that off my chest, and I hope, you know what, this isn't going to go viral, but it should, because this is what's going on in our country. And these people are getting away with criminal activity, and they're getting well paid for it. And they're destroying families, and they're destroying relationships. And I feel compelled to do something about it. Thank you for watching. Please share and subscribe. I wish you the best. See you.